This is a basic tutorial on Fusion 360. My name is Rubel Khan and I'm from KC Tech School. All right, I'll be leading you through a simple tutorial where you'd be doing a basic 3D shape, which looks something like this. Okay, it's a rectangular block where you've got 5 holes. Okay, this is the purpose of this is basically to hold a keyring. All right, so imagine having a keyring with keys attached, and you can put keyrings into one of these holes. Probably the hole on the top, the ones at the bottom. Okay, it's up to you how you use it, but my purpose is to show you how to do it. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. This is the end product. Okay, so I'm going to start a new file. Okay, and we'll start from scratch. Okay, so having the end product in mind, we'll try and figure out how to get to the end product. So this is what you need to do. Okay, now what base shape is this? Now, if you look at the whole form, the 3D form, the basic shape is a rectangle. First thing we need to do is to create a rectangle. Now, at the top, you've got different tools that you can actually have access to. All right. Okay, so the first thing we got to do before you start a sketch is you need to click on the Create Sketch button. Okay, once you do that, you have your 3 different axes. Okay, now the easiest axis to often work with is the bottom view, which is basically the plan view. That means when you view it from the top, this is how it looks like. So I'm going to choose the bottom plane. Okay, so I'm going to double click that. Okay, try and have your grid on. So if you look at that grid and snaps, snap to grid should be on. That'll make things easier. All right. Again, you'd have a sketch palette on the right, so try and minimize that. I'll show you more of the stuff in here once we get to that. So the base shape is a rectangle, so I'm going to do a rectangle. Okay, my favorite is center point rectangle. So I'm going to start from the center. Click on the center. I'm going to drag it out. Okay, and I'm just going to press enter. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to key in the dimensions. Now you might have 1 or 2 dimensions randomly appearing. We'll try and fix the dimensions to whatever we need. Okay, what we need is a 50 by 100 keyring. Okay, 50 by 100. So this one, I'm going to change it to 100. Okay. Before I type in the next one, I want you to take note of the colors of the lines for this rectangle. Now the top 2 lines are blue, the sides are black. Now when a shape is not fully defined, and when I say fully defined, that means it's not dimensioned fully, you're not going to get all the lines in black. The lines will only turn black once it's fully defined, which means the lines are dimensioned. Okay, and every single feature in your sketch must be defined, whether it's a circle, whether it's an arc, which needs a radius to be defined or dimension. Everything must be defined. Then only is your sketch going to be fully black. Okay, now, so I've got the length here, and obviously I'm missing the width. Okay, now putting in the width would actually turn everything to black. So to do dimensioning, you can go to Create, Sketch Dimension. Okay, click on the side, and then drag the label out. It's going to be 50. And there you go. Press Escape to make sure to get the normal cursor back again, because now my cursor has that dimensioning icon. I'm going to press Escape. I've got a normal mouse cursor. So we've got 50 by 100 rectangle. Okay, and the next thing I need to do is give it a bit of a depth. So the thickness needs to be 3 mils. All right. So look at this. It's got a thickness here that's 3 mil. Okay. So I'm gonna go to finish sketch first, because before you go and put in a thickness, you need to finish your sketch, and then that brings you to a 3D mode. So now I'm in my 3D mode. So I'm going to go to Modify, press Pull. It will ask you to select the plane that you want to press pull. So select that. Okay, and then go up. You see that small box here? That's where you key in the thickness. Go up by 3 mils, and there you have it. Now you've got a rectangular block. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do a fillet at the top left and bottom right. Okay. So for that, I'll need to do a sketch again. I'll need to do a sketch. So I'm going to go to create sketch, select the top part, shift this to the center. Again, I'm going to show you some navigation tool. That's a hand pan. You can shift your drawing left and right. That's zoom. You can zoom it in and out. Okay, that's an orbit tool. With that, you can basically rotate your drawing and see bottom, top, the side of it. Okay, and anytime you want to go back to the normal view, oh, that's an isometric view. So go to the top view again. That's where we're working at. Okay, so I'm going to create now an arc, a 3-point arc. I'm going to select somewhere on this side, another point on this side, and the third point would be how much you're actually flexing your arc. Okay, so I'm going to click somewhere here. Don't worry about the radius because I'm going to specify the radius in a bit. Now, before you specify the radius, I'm going to teach you how to use a constraint. Okay, so we're going to use tangent. And this tangent constraint is basically going to instruct this curve here, this arc, to be tangent to the straight lines. So I'm going to select this line, and then this straight line, and then this line, and this straight line. And you see the tangent symbol here. That actually means that this arc is tangent to both the straight lines, the length and the width. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So create arc, 3-point arc, 1 point on this line, 1 point on this line. Just randomly flex it, make sure it's curving outwards, and then escape. And then go to constraints again, tangent, click on the line, click on the curve, okay, and click on the line, click on the curve, okay. And you should have 2 tangent symbols appearing. It's lagging a bit. Okay, I'll try and do that one more time. Constraint, tangent, here and here. Okay, let's wait for the tangent symbol to appear. It's lagging a bit somehow, but we'll get there. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so the next thing, so I've got 2 arcs, 2 corners. They're both tangent to the length and the width. Next thing I got to do is to dimension my arcs, and that's the radius of the 2 arcs. So press the escape to get out of the dimensioning mode, and you see my normal cursor. Now, to dimension, the first thing I taught you was to do this, create sketch dimension. I'm going to show you another shortcut, which is just by pressing the letter D. So press D, click on the arc, and then drag out the arrow. That's going to be radius of 5. Okay, same for this one. Drag it out, radius of 5. There you go. There you have it. Okay, and it's black now. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the excess material on the side. So if you go to the home view, which is the isometric view normally, this excess material at the side needs to be removed. So in order to do that, I have to finish my sketch, go to modify, press pull, because we got to go back to the 3D mode. So finish sketch, modify, press pull, select the surfaces we want to remove. That's my first surface. Okay, sometimes if it's too tricky, I want to zoom in. That's my second surface. Okay, so again, the middle one got selected, which you don't want. You want the 2 corners to be selected. Okay, so now I'm going to put in -3, because if I put in 3, it's going to pull up. It's going to push out and create new material, which I don't want. Basically, I'm going to remove material now. So unlike just now where I keyed in 3, I'm going to put a -3, and that's going to be in the opposite direction of the arrow, which is basically going to be pushing the material down. So -3, enter, and there you go. You've got your 2 fillets. All right, now, good. So we've got the base shape. Okay, the next thing is to do the circles. Okay, so to do the circle again, that's a sketch. So go to plus, create sketch, choose the plane again, and it will turn. Make sure you pan it to somewhere in the middle, and then press the escape. Okay, so circle would be create circle, center diameter circle. I'm going to do my first circle somewhere beside the green line, somewhere on the first quadrant. Okay, so randomly, so as I do a circle, I'm going to type in the dimension this time straight away. It's going to be 12. It's 12 mil diameter. Now again, you can always click on the center because it's not constrained yet. It's still blue, that means it's not defined, and you can move it around. So move it as close as possible to the green line. I'm going to teach you now another constraint. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to constrain this circle to be vertically on top of the center. So I'm going to click on the center of the circle, the center of the rectangle. And what you find, it straight away aligns itself to be on the green line, which is basically like a y-axis in this case, vertical axis. All right, so you learn another constraint tool, which is horizontal vertical. We use the tangent constraint early on. All right, so you've learned 2 constraints already. Okay, now it's still blue in color. That's because it doesn't know how far it is from the center of this rectangle. So the next thing I'm going to do is press D for dimension. Click on the center. Click on the center of this rectangle. And then drag the arrow out, type in 15 because I want it to be exactly 15. And now you see circle turns black because it's fully defined now. Now, if we go back to our end outcome, we need 5 circles, as you would have realized. All right, so I'm going to do 5. I'm going to replicate this 5 times. And if you realize that the 5 circles are basically symmetric, okay, the center of the symmetry is in the center. All right, so, and there is a specific pattern to this. Okay, it's all symmetric about the center, and it's evenly spaced out. Okay, this is what we call a circular pattern. Okay, it's easy to do. So in order to do this, you go to create circular pattern. You see the small box appear. The object is the shape that you want to replicate, or the feature you want to replicate. So choose the circle. Make sure you click on the perimeter. Then go to center point. Choose the point around which you want to replicate or revolve this circle, basically to create new circles. So my center point is going to be this, because this is the center of rotation. Okay, in my box, I'm going to type in how many circles I want. And as you've seen before, there are 5 circles. Press enter. There you go. You've got it, 5 circles. Okay. So I'm going to click on the home view, which will bring me to the 3D isometric view, and that's what I have now. But this is what I want. Okay, this is what I want, 5 holes. I've got 5 circles. Obviously, to get the holes now, you just got to push them in and remove the material. So again, I'm in 2D mode, sketch mode. I got to finish sketch to go to the 3D mode. The next step would be to push them down. So in order to do that, same thing again. Modify, press pull. We've done this before. Select all the 5 circles. And then, because we're removing, we're not going to type in 3, we're going to type in -3. Again, we're doing 3 because that's the thickness of the block. So it's -3, and then you've got your 5 circles. Now we're almost there. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. So if you look at this, there's one other thing you realize, that you've got rounded edges. These are called, these are fillets. Okay, rounded edges, fillets. So I'm going to create fillets. Okay, and this is how I do it. Modify fillet. Now this is still a 3D modification, so you can do this in the 3D mode. It will ask you to choose the edges. So I'm going to choose my edges. That's the first one. So this whole thing is one edge because it's continuous. All right. Remember, the corner has been rounded, and this one is one whole edge. So it's a total of 2 edges. Okay, and I want the radius to be just 1 mil because the thickness itself is 3. So if I go any more, it's going to be too big. So 1 mil radius, and you've got that fillet. Okay. So if you revolve that, if you orbit that, you find out that the fillet is now all around the block at the top. You can also apply that to the bottom if you want, but I'm just going to limit it to the top for now. Okay, so let's go back to the normal view. Okay, escape, and then you can click on the home button if you want to go back to the normal isometric view. Now, left with the final task, which is to put your name on it. All right, I've got my name on it, Rubel, that's my name. Okay, so I'm gonna do my name. You can do your name. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to put a name. Name is part of sketch. So in order to put a name, I've got to do a create sketch. So I'm gonna press on create sketch. Again, I'll choose the top plane because that's where I've been working on all the time. It's always the top surface. And then I either push it up or pull it down. In most cases, I'm pulling it down later on. For the first bit, I push it up to create that actual depth that I needed. All right, so that's the surface. I'm going to pan it to the center. All right, press escape to get the normal cursor. And then you're going to go and create a text. Okay, so that's one of the options that you have under create here. Create, choose text. Now you'll choose the top left starting point. So click on the top left where you're going to place your name, and you'd see a small box appearing. This is where you type in whatever you want to type. So I'm going to type in my name, Rubel. Right, and you see two pivot points appearing. One of them is to move your text left and right, top and bottom. The other one is to turn it. So you want to rotate the text. So you can rotate and then move it to wherever you want. Use your two pivot points to place it wherever you want. And I'm happy with that. The height of the text. You can change it to 8 to make it smaller if you want. Okay. Okay, so I've got it done. Now, the next thing is, see if I go to home view, I've got that text there, but it's not engraved. As you would see in the final product, it's actually engraved. So a bit of that material is actually cut out, it's pushed down. So in order to engrave that, pretty simple. Again, modify, press pull, but remember, I'm in the 2D mode. So I've got to get out of the 2D mode, finish sketch, and then modify, press pull. I'm going to click, I'm going to zoom in, okay, select the surface that I want, I'm going to select this, and that gets highlighted, okay, and then one more time, again, you see that arrow appearing. I want to go down halfway, so it's negative 1.5 because 3 mil is the full depth. And press enter or press OK. And there you go. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so you've got your keyring holder, okay, with your name engraved in. And one final step, if you want to do it, and that will make your circles look really cool, is put a fillet on the circles. That wasn't in the end outcome, which I showed you earlier, but I'm going to just do it, just show you how it looks like. So this down, put a fillet. So I'm going to select my edges. I'm going to fillet these circles. It looks really cool. Okay, and I'm going to put radius of 1. Check it out. All right, isn't this awesome? Okay, so that's my keyring holder. Okay, now so you've got your keyring holder. Just one final thing I want to show you is if you want to save it, if you want to save this file and then 3D print this out, if you've got a 3D printer at home or in school and you want 3D print it out as part of a school project, you need to be saving this as an STL file. It's just a file format that a 3D printer software would accept, and then you can use that software to slice it and 3D print it. So I'll just show you how to save it as an STL file. So you see this black arrow here, okay? So click on this black arrow, then right click, save as STL. And this, when you save as STL file, you can't modify it anymore. So if you're happy with it, and if you want to 3D print it, it's the final option. You can save it as an STL file. It will ask you, press OK. Okay, these are default settings. Press OK, and then it will ask you whichever folder in your computer you want to save it to. All right, but I'm not going to save it. Okay, but that's just an option if you want to 3D print it. And then the STL file can be worked on a 3D printer driver software, and then you can import it to a 3D printer and print it. But I'm not going to do that. So press cancel. So this is a Fusion 360 file, normal file. All right. If you want to save it as a Fusion 360 editable file, you can just press save, and then it will be saved to your cloud. All right. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll probably meet you again in another tutorial. Thank you very much for listening.